everybody. Well, drinks refill.
Drinks refill.
Cheers. So we go back now to talk about yourself.
Yep.
But the interesting part now in your present, which is your decision to come to Hong Kong.
Yep. So, like I said, I gave my parents 3 days notice. So, by the way, I've already booked tickets. I'm going to Hong Kong.
6 days before you fly.
3 days.
Oh, 3 days.
3 days, yeah.
Kill you.
But yeah, I really want to come here. Like I said, I loved Hong Kong, but I love a lot about it. You know, whether it's the people here, the culture.
Because you came here for holidays before you
Yeah,
came
so
totally
2009 I come here on holiday. And I fell in love with the city there. There's just so much going on here. And I was like, oh, that's where I want to be. And I think like the focus of the economy was kind of moving over to Asia anyway, you know, with everything that's happening in China and their economy growing massively. And I really liked, like here, if you want to live a Western lifestyle, you can. If you want to live like an Asian lifestyle, you can. Or if you want something in between, you can as well. And I really like that. And it's, you can find everything here in Hong Kong, pretty much everything here in Hong Kong. And I really like that. And I think the food scene, I'm going to say after I arrived, got a lot more interesting. But no, I think it's really, really good here. I think the food scene, I think in Asia, if somebody wants to do something, going back to like Chicha before, if you want to do something, generally it happens in Hong Kong first.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the first Peruvian restaurant in Asia, as far as we know, was in Hong Kong.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of the first things either happen here or Singapore, and they seem to happen here a bit more.
I think that because Hong Kong is quite more easy to develop concept at certain point.
Yeah.
And I think that people appreciate a lot to have something new, because when I came in here, I get impressed of how fast certain things can be new and can be old. Like after 3-6 months, you are old.
That's the downside of it.
Yeah, but
a lot of
it's
new
interesting
things
because
come
you need
here.
to keep up yourself. You know?
Yeah,
and
you
then,
have to. To be competitive, you have to keep
and
going.
then you have different style of food that is interesting to have it. You as you say it, now if you want to be like a Western, you can have all the Western cuisine that you want it, or totally Asian or something in between. You can do it. No?
Yeah.
It's hard to in other part of the world to have these kind of things all kind of closely. That's nice. So you arrived in Hong Kong in 2011.
I arrived on, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like May 10, something like that. And then I had no job, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, I had no job. Yeah. So I decided for myself that because I finished the cruise ships, gone home, packed my stuff, come here, but I hadn't quit my job on the cruise ships because you work for 6 months, you take 2 months off. So I was like, okay, I'll give myself 2 months to find a job. If I can't find it, I can go back to the cruise ships. It's okay. Because actually this time, I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't the best job, but it was good, and I feel like the higher ups on there appreciated the work I could do and bring to them. So I think I could have had a good career on there. It's not necessarily the career I may have wanted, but I think I could have had a good career on there if I decided to stay. But after 2 weeks I found a job. So I was like, okay, not going back to the cruise ships.
That's impressive. So
I just applied for everything.
Just having applied jobs?
So I just come here and basically search on the internet. Jobs in on, because I did some research before I came, and they said like people will not hire you if you're generally not in Hong Kong. So I was like, okay, I'll do the cruise ships first. Come here, have a backup plan if it doesn't work. But yeah, 2 weeks I applied for quite a few jobs. I kind of actually in 2 weeks I think I got offered about 4 or 5 jobs here. So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So, because at that time, I think so Hong Kong was more expanding, growing up in food scene. So of course they need chefs ready for it or hungry for it. And as you say, it's more easy if
I
they
think
are
a change was, when I arrived, I think a change was just about to happen. I think it started to happen, but it hadn't really taken off properly. I think, as we said in the last time, I think it changed when Chicha opened. I think that was the big change.
Yeah.
Sure. Because normally, like, I'm not putting Hong Kong down here, but if you were to take London for argument's sake, London, New York, a lot of like new trendy things happen in those two cities. And Hong Kong is normally about 5 years behind. So they'll happen there they'd be popular for 5 years, and then someone will bring the concept to Hong Kong. But in terms of chicha, it was still a newish concept in London, in New York.
Yeah,
In terms of the
totally.
way chicha was done, it was still for Viviano and the rest of Concept Creations crew to bring it over to Hong Kong was very brave of them, I think, and
It was
very
brave.
ahead of their time. Yeah,
Very brave and very smart the way they
Yeah.
want to put here. They didn't want to put a Peruvian concept in a fine dining way, just something casual, cool, and fun.
Yeah, because a lot of concepts that come over here, like Western concepts that come over here, were always done in a fine dining way first, and it's like
Yeah, and then sometimes
but this more like casual style of dining had started to creep in. From my understanding, I hadn't been here that long, so I'm sure there was other stuff going on there. It was either kind of like old-fashioned style casual concept with tablecloth on the table,
Yeah.
which is like very 1980s, 1990s, very early like
True.
90s style of
True.
thing, or it was fine dining,
Yeah.
and there wasn't that casual kind of
But in 2012, it's still the fine dining, the high top
yeah
that everyone want to be. No?
yeah.
So, not much in the middle. So it was or on the top or on the bottom, but
Yeah.
nothing in between.
So
a
that's what I'm
lot.
saying. So
It was something, but
Yeah.
not that.
So that's my point, right? When I arrived, I think it started this casual kind of funky new style of cooking had started in Hong Kong, but it hadn't taken off yet.
Yeah,
I think it took off when
So
Chicha
you
opened.
start in Tapeo right away.
2011, yeah.
Okay.
So I had to wait for my visa, which took me around a month and a half, less than a month and maybe 5 weeks.
But at that time when you started in Tapeo, because Tapeo is a Spanish tapas restaurant in Hong Kong that
Yeah.
sadly is not anymore, but it's in Cerdo now. You was in touch with the Spanish cuisine.
Yeah, so I'd done it before. So when I lived in America, I remember my friends taking me to a Spanish. Well, it wasn't a Spanish place; it was a tapas place.
Okay.
And so still around 20 at this point, they took me to this place called Tutti Tango. I think there's a big chain of them now, but from my understanding at the time, that was like a standalone one. And I was like, I knew of tapas, but I'd never gone out and eaten it. I knew of Spanish food, never really gone out and eaten it. But I was like, this is the way to, for me, this is the best way to dine. Like just loads of little individual plates, sit around with friends, have a couple of bottles of wine, and then just eat as much or as little as we want and just
Exactly.
share things. I was like, this is so good. Like seriously, this is so good. And I kind of, maybe like, then my last job in the UK, we actually did like a tapas menu as well.
Yep.
But it was more traditional Spanish style. We did it as like because we had a restaurant and then like a bar beside, and we kind of did it as the bar, but we did like a tapas menu. And so I was like, yeah, and then it kind of reminded me of that, and it's like, so I started to learn a little bit about it, and then before I decided to come to Hong Kong, I was thinking to possibly go to Barcelona to go and work and learn from there. But this is around like 2008, 2009 time.
Do you speak
And then-
Spanish?
No.
So brave to go to Barcelona.
But I mean, okay, it's part of the European Union, so a lot of people speak English, and I thought, okay, I could probably pick something up there. Do you know what I mean? Let me try. But the problem is at that time, the economy crashed
Yeah.
in most of Europe and America,
True.
and a lot of the Spanish were actually coming to the UK because I think at some point, like the Spanish unemployment rate got up to 25%. So I was like, there's no chance. So when I come here, so it was actually like a thought in my head. Let's try and go and focus on this. I think it would be a cool thing to focus on. So it was around 2008, 2009 time. And then when I come here on holiday, I was like, oh no, but I probably want to do this as well. And then so it was quite ironic when I got here. My first job was in a tapas place, I think.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it was quite ironic. Somehow it felt like it was meant to be. So
True.
again, like I said, I don't speak. I could write a menu in Spanish with your help.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
I'm the official
Yeah.
translator, Spanish translator of
Well,
Simon. But
I mean, I
at
kind
least
of.
I can translate something, right?
I
Because
kind-
usually you help me with the
Yeah,
English. So
yeah, I kind of have an idea, but I just need to confirm with you.
Yeah, it's good.
It's just the amount of times I text you at 2 o'clock in the morning. Arturo, is this right? And you're like, yep, or nope, or whatever, right? So
No, but it gets better from the day one when you started asking me all these questions, and now it's almost 5-6 years. The Spanish is less. I need to correct it. It's like really more accurate. Before it was a little bit like damn. And I was thinking that's the way how they listen to me in English. Shit.
Yeah.
I get it totally.
Yeah. So then I got a job in Tapeo. That was, but they put me in Saiwan Ho actually.
But you studied in Central, right?
No, I started in Saiwan Ho.
Oh, you studied in Saiwan Ho.
Yeah, so it's in quite like a local area on Hong Kong Island. So I did like 2 trial shifts with them. So at the time, they had, I think, 4 restaurants. They had 2 Tapeos and 2 Frites.
Yeah, was it Tapeo Central, Tapeo Saiwan Ho, Frites Central and
Frites Quarry Bay. Yeah.
Yes.
So they only had those 4 restaurants, and they were opening one in Wan Chai.
The Frites Wan Chai.
Yeah. When I first moved here, it was under construction. So they said to me like, okay, come and do a trial in Tapeo Central on a Friday night, and then the following Wednesday, come and do a trial in Frites Quarry Bay for lunch. Wow. And that was the first time I ever met Viv. So I was in the kitchen helping, playing up, like do some mussels, serve some soup, and all this kind of like just playing up for service. And then Viv just come in the kitchen screaming at the head chef like, where the hell is table 5's order? And I was like, by the way, that's Viv. I was like, oh, okay, that's the
interesting.
Yeah, like he was the one that called me on the phone to come and meet like the executive chef, Chef Michael at the time. Like, oh, you need to come and meet Chef Michael, have an interview with him, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So I'd spoke to him on the phone, but I never met the guy. And the first time I ever saw him was him walking into the kitchen like, where the hell is this? Like, he never held back when he was shouting, was he? So then so after I did my 2 trials, Chef Michael asked me like, where do you want to work? And I was just like, well, if you're opening a new restaurant, it makes sense for me to work in the new restaurant, right? He's like, okay, so yeah, you can work in Frites, but get your visa and you'll probably be open by then. So I got my visa, and they're like, oh, it's been delayed by I think a month, if I'm not mistaken. Frites Wan Chai. So they're like, oh, but I think they had 2 chefs leave that weekend. I got my visa, like resigned. In Saiwan Ho, and they're like, oh, do you want to come? Can you come and help us in Saiwan Ho? We'll find another chef, then you can go up to Frites Central. So, Frites Wan Chai, and I was like, yeah, okay, no problem. And I got down there, and there was another floor staff with me that was just helping out in Saiwan Ho as well, and she was going up to the new Frites to be a supervisor, and she'd already gone just after the open, and I was still there, and I was like, what's happening? Anybody going to tell me anything? So I guess I worked out after a couple of weeks. Guess I'm staying here in Saiwan Ho.
Yeah, but they say to you if you want to go read to Frites, or they says, oh, you.
No, they didn't say anything. No,
just
they were just too busy doing the opening. I guess so they got their team together, and they're like, okay, this is it. Simon's staying in Saiwan Ho.
But I think so if they see a good result on you on Saiwan Ho about what you're doing.
At the time, no. So like Samir was still in charge then, kind of, right? So I was working with him. It was a bit, it wasn't that busy at the time. So I think I was there for around 3 months. So let's say July, August. Yeah, 3 months I was there. And then, I can't remember how, maybe probably Viv or Katrina, the other boss, spoke to me and said, oh, we need to put you up in Central for a bit. I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. So I went up to Central, and then I was there for 8 months, September until, well, on and off from April, May, June, July. I think I was kind of like in between Central and Saiwan Ho. And then this is 2012, so this is when they were opening Chicha. And then Samir was still in Saiwan Ho.
Yeah.
Still not making that much money. I guess breaking even at best, I would say. And then, so they opened Chicha, and they decided to take Samir as your sous chef at the time. And they're like, I remember them speaking to me then. Viv spoke to me. Viv and Trina spoke to me together. They're like, oh, we really need to put you in Saiwan Ho as to be in charge. Because when I come here, they asked me, do I want a position? But I didn't know much about Hong Kong, how it works. So I said no, or even if I would enjoy it, I enjoyed it as a tourist, but I didn't know if I'd enjoy it as a
living
like
life.
living here.
Yeah.
So I said, actually, I don't want a position. Just put me as a chef de partie. I don't really care about my salary as long as I have enough to survive. And
Yeah, for you, it's like I don't want the position because
Yeah.
if I regret, it's better if I have no position
and then I can go.
go.
Yeah.
Unless that
Because
I totally get
they
it.
said to me, the only thing we want from you is if we get you a visa, like a sponsorship visa, if you need to give us 1 year.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I can handle that. So I was like, okay, after 1 year, I can reassess. If I don't like Hong Kong, I can go. If something else happens, I can go. But I'll promise you my 1 year. That's it. So I gave them that. And then, so after I've been here just 8, 9, 10, almost a year, they're like, oh, we need you back in Taiwan, because they were doing chicha. Oh, we need you back in Taiwan. Oh. And I was like, okay. And they're like, you're going to be in charge this time. I was like, okay, no problem.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so they give me the position.
I remember when I
Because
came
in Central, they
yeah.
kind of give me a position, but not officially, if that makes sense, when I went up to Central.
To be honest, I don't remember the first night I got to Tapeo. On my first night in Hong Kong, you was there or not? It was a Monday night.
I remember seeing you one time in there, but I don't know if that was your first time in there.
Because I do remember the first day after I arrived, Beef moved me. Oh, I think so. That was the second day. Yeah, I think so. That was the second day that he bring me to different outlets. I passed by Frites, Central, in the first one.
Yep.
And then we go to Frites Wenchai, and then we go have the lunch in Quarry Bay.
Mm.
And then we pass by Tapeo Saiwan Ho.
Yeah.
Then I meet Samir there. But yeah, my first night was in Tapeo Central. You was there, maybe.
Maybe. I remember
for
you.
me, I
I
was
remember you being
impressed.
there around like 6 o'clock at one point, but I don't know if that's your first time there or not.
I remember it was already like nighttime, like that, and was even though it was Monday, it was super cloud. A lot of people, a lot of work to do,
busy,
and
right?
I can see it, people having a lot fun there. Like Tapeo was a really cool place also. Like people was go there for drinks, for tapas, for eat a full meal or just bite something before they go to the proper restaurant. But even the restaurant always was a full packed place.
It was good. It was only 24 seats. There was literally a kitchen, and then 24 seats around the kitchen. That was it. There was no tables. Nothing.
Yeah, and
it was
super
busy.
cool.
Yeah, it was busy. So we could turn that restaurant over like 3-4 on a busy night 4 times.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So in a 24-seater restaurant, we could turn it over sometimes 4 times. I mean, we had done it, but normally like on a busy Friday night, 3 times.
Wow.
But we have done 4. I remember we'd done 4 times before. It was busy. It was really busy. I loved it. So when they asked me to go down to Saiwan Ho, and it wasn't that busy, and I was like, okay, Dee was the manager, but Piero was kind of in charge of it more because he was in charge of both Tapeos at the time. But he was going on to Chicha to be the manager of Chicha, right? So he was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna leave it. And then me and Dee are like, okay, we need to make this work, because I knew Dee from the first time I was there. She's the manager there, and so we need to make this work. And they were offering like a set dinner, which was really cheap, and I was like, Dee, can we? I remember the conversation was like, Dee, can we? Okay, we can offer set dinner, but can we not have it? Because we used to have like an A board outside that would offer the set dinner. I was like, can we just like bring it inside? If people ask for it, it's okay, but let's not advertise it. And she's like, yeah, we can do that. And that was the start of us getting busy, because we would attract a lot of people that were only interested in the cheap set dinner, right? So they'd come early, they'd have the cheap set dinner, and they'd be sat there for the whole night. So when people finish work from the offices that are not that far away, and they're like, can we have a table? And it's like, no, we don't have any tables now, because we're just full of cheap set dinner people. So, and then after a couple of weeks it started to work, because we didn't advertise it. We wouldn't get these cheap people come in just for the really cheap set dinner that we had, and then we could have these tables for the people that could afford to buy a more expensive bottle of wine or something like that. And we started to make money, and then Dee just said to me, Simon, you are right, no more set dinner. I'm not even, if people ask, no more set dinner at all. And I was like,
perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Because
it just took off, and I think like again, my other thing, we tried to recreate that. Although the restaurant was different, it was more of a restaurant style. We still had the seats in front of the kitchen, but we kind of had a restaurant behind that, and we were kind of on the waterfront, and it was nice, like with the lights kind of, used to have all the doors open, and you could sit on the edge of the restaurant, and kind of the lights coming in from the other side was really, really nice. And it's like, this is such a nice vibe for a Monday night or a Friday night or a Sunday night, whatever. And it started to work, and we're just like,
it is really beautiful place, because I remember I was in Tapeo. Well, I know it was quite often because it was far away, but at least 4 or 5 times I was there. One was for his birthday. I remember we was running with Donna with the ice cream cake. We're like, please hurry up, taxi! It's ice cream cake.
I remember,
But I go for lunch, dinner, and the thing for dinner was for me more beautiful, because you have all this waterfront.
But it's more relaxed. It's more of a tapas.
Yeah.
It felt more Spanish.
Yeah.
I remember always saying to people, if I could take over every restaurant on the waterfront and turn it into a tapas place, whether it's Spanish or not, but like a tapas style place, it would be more reminiscent of Spain, like San Sebastian, because it's such a beautiful, relaxed area. Yeah. You forget you're in Hong Kong. Really, you forget you're in Hong Kong, because you can't really see the big buildings, because the trees were covering the big buildings on the other side of the river. And it was such a nice place. And it's like, this is a little piece of Spain in Saiwan Ho. Really.
Yeah, well, I remember we was having a lot good time, and the food that what we served was nice.
Well, that's the thing. Like, again, when I first got there, there's always complaints, because we used to do like, so in Central we never had the big paella, but we had like a big paella down there, and that was always their biggest complaint. I was like, okay, we need to change this.
Smaller.
No, we had the big one, but they were cooking it quite traditionally. So I think it's from the previous executive chef before Michael. They're like, this is how we need to cook the rice. It needs to be al dente. Hong Kong people don't like al dente rice. So I was like, and I said to the chefs that were there at the time, I'm like, if this is your biggest complaint, why are you not doing anything to change it? And they're like, I said, okay, let's cook it longer. Let's add a bit more stock to it. Let's make it how Hong Kong people like it. If we get some Western people that come in and want it al dente, we can do that for them as well. But you need to understand that if they're complaining and you have to recook it every time, you're ruining their time and you're making your job a lot harder. So let's cook it how they want it. And we changed it up, and we got a lot more regulars, like local and expats, because a lot of like non-Spanish people don't like their rice al dente either. I mean, as a British person, I know that most British people want kind of a bit more of an overcooked paella.
Yeah.
So, or
But
they want overcooked
that's
rice.
a fact. As a product, you need to adjust your product to every place that you go, even though you try to be authentic to your roots.
Well, the thing is, you can start off being authentic. It's okay.
Yeah.
But listen to, if you get a lot of complaints, you
Yeah,
need to listen to the
market.
complaints.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen
Totally.
to, and that's what I say. Like, if people complain about my food, I'm okay with that. I don't have an ego where I say, no, this is my food, this is how it should be. But if one person complains, for argument's sake, this is too salty, I don't need to change everything, because 99 other people have said, like, this is nice, right, or whatever. But if the complaint starts happening over and over and over again, then I need to go, okay, what do we need to change? We need to either take this off the menu, or we need to change it somehow to meet people's standards, because in most countries or cities, people kind of have most people have similar-ish kind of taste, in a sense, you know what I mean? Like here in Hong Kong, the majority of people love seafood, right?
It is complicated.
Yeah, and most people have like a similar-ish kind of taste. So it's like, okay, let's go to. And I remember I had one comment from somebody saying, like, oh, the rice is a little bit overcooked. So I just went out and I talked to them, explained why we overcook our rice, and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. I said, next time you come back, I remember you, or just ask me if you want the paella again. I'll make it how it should be for you. And they appreciated it. They appreciated the explanation.
Yeah,
they
true.
understood the explanation, and then they appreciated what I could do for them after. And that's kind of what me, Dee, and then the rest of the staff. That's what we did in Saiwan Ho, and that's why we got busy. I think
beautiful experience there. Every time they go, and also for you. And then after that, you never back to Central till now.
No. So I was after Saiwan Ho. they put me into Frites one chai. Eventually, I was going
Because
to be.
how long time it was in Tapeo?
So in
Taiwan Hall?
Well, in
Two and a
Tapeo,
half?
no, in Tapeo in total, I was there 4 years. 4 years.
4 years. Yeah,
4
yeah.
years.
You left.
So
you
2000
moved to Frites before I go. After I got to.
Yeah. So 2011 until 2000. Oh, sorry, three years then, right? 2011 to 2014. Yeah.
Yeah, because I left Hong Kong in 2015, and you already was moving to Frites.
I moved October 2014.
Oh yeah. Because what
And you
happened
left when?
at that time is
Yeah, you're still in Chicha, right?
Yes, because what happened at that time they started closing down Tapeos, right?
Not yet, no. They hadn't closed it down yet. They closed down 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the first one was Tapeo Saiwanho, then Tapeo.
No, first one was Central.
Central.
Central was like something like the October or November. Then Central Saiwanho was December 31st was their last day.
Mm-hmm. And then the next one closed down was. I'm not
Chicha.
sure was Chicha or Subla first.
Well,
I think-
technically it was Chicha,
And then Subla.
but
after.
Suvla. But they decided to close Suvla down, but it was still there. So
Yeah.
they stopped service, but it was still there until the contract ran out. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
And Frites, one chai, how was it?
Probably the most boring job I've ever had as a chef. The most frustrating, most boring job I've ever had as a chef. As a concept, I mean, it's amazing.
I like it. I like it a lot.
If I was to own this business, I'd be like, yeah, this is a really good concept to own. But as a chef, it's the most boring.
Yeah, because of a point of view of guests, you go there, you have these beautiful mussels in at least 3 or 4 different
I think
seasons.
five or six.
Five or six.
It's
Yeah,
5 or 6, I think.
So you have
5,
different
I think.
options plus the beef
schnitzel,
schnitzel, the
fish and
kilometer,
chips.
the fish and chips.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easygoing food and it's well done made it. So nothing to complain about it. No, it's cool, casual, it's straight to the point. Plus the how many beers? Damn, I forgot. 60 types?
Oh no, it's like 80, right?
Wow.
I think so, by bottle.
I never
yeah.
could try all of them, to be
No,
honest.
no.
It's
me
impossible to do it.
neither. Yeah.
And the place is
Something like
gorgeous.
60 to 80 or something
high
like that, right?
ceilings,
Yeah.
beautiful
Oh,
concept.
the concept is amazing. They've
But
done so well with it.
If you like to be a chef and be creative and do different stuff things, might as well is not the place that you are
Yeah.
to travel. And you was there for a long time?
Just under 2 years. So I left 2016.
Yeah, I remember I was in Singapore at the time when you tell us what is your new jumping. No?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Hi guys, and I remember like this is done and I will moving forward to this project, which I thought was amazing. Because my first thought when I come to Hong Kong and then after we broke the barrier, because first of all he just raises me the first time we meet. Totally.
Just didn't understand his English. Was it? No, so he didn't understand my English, I think. I think that was more of it, wasn't it? He didn't understand my
he
English.
still raises
Yeah.
me. Like a coming a blonde guy to my restaurant and look at me like this. Like,
It wasn't like that
excuse
at
me.
all. I was like, sorry, where's some?
No. But then when I know that you was a chef in Tapeo, I never get why a British blonde, light blue eyes guy was in charge of a Spanish restaurant. I never get the connection. But then when I go and I see how you interact with the guests, all the things that you are, like how you talk to people and you serve them and you're caring for them, and you was super focused on every single detail was on point. It was like okay, like sometimes you think because if it's I don't know, Spanish cuisine should be a Spanish chef, but no, you need a chef who loves the cuisine, who loves the concept, and who loves to serve the guests.
Yeah, like I was talking about this someone the other day, and it's like the difference between me and someone that's Spanish is they have Spanish food in their blood, right? But for me, I have to research it, so I always feel like there's extra pressure on me to get it right, and I'll have more criticism if it's wrong because I'm not Spanish. So I have to make sure everything I do is on point, because if it's not, I'm gonna have more criticism. Oh, a British chef can't cook Spanish food, obviously, right? But it's true. But I understand the mentality of it. But I think that's the thing. If I don't get it right, I'm going to have more criticism than if a Spanish person gets it wrong, because a Spanish person will say, well, this is the way I was taught to cook, and this is the way my mum did it, this is the way my gran did it, and they have that, but I don't
More
have
background,
that.
yeah.
So I have to do a lot more research to make sure I get it absolutely right, because I'm going to have that criticism.
I think that take a lot
Yeah.
courage and passion to do it, because, for example, you get out of your comfort zone box.
Yeah,
no? Because sometimes people think because you are British, you should do just British cuisine, or because you are Peruvian, you should do just Peruvian cuisine. But this, I think, so.
But the thing is, in Hong Kong,
style.
in Hong Kong, I mean, if you go to a Japanese restaurant, most of the people that work there are Chinese, not Japanese. Do you know what I mean?
True.
So it's not like you can't learn a different cuisine.
Exactly.
And like, as a British chef growing up, what do we learn? We learn French style of cooking. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
But it takes a lot
Yeah.
passion from your side to really develop the cuisine that you are really in touch, no?
Yeah.
And then what I see now in El Cerdo, I can see a really beautiful Spanish cuisine, tapas style, but now mostly with your brand, with Simon style, no?
I think so.
Because you adopted already that.
I think everything I've done, I've learned myself. Even in Tapeo, I don't think I was ever taught anything. Does that make sense? And I don't mean that in a horrible way to anyone.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I think, like, I went in there and, like, I knew, like, jamon de pelota. I knew a little bit about it. Jamon iberico. I knew it, but I didn't know that much. I had to research everything myself about it. No one ever said, look, here's a manual, read it. Or no one ever sat me down and give me a class on what is it, how is it. I had to really research about myself so I could talk to customers and explain to customers without
And
looking.
you talk a lot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So,
But it's beautiful to see how 13 years old guy have the dream to be a chef, take the decision, don't go to culinary school, and take the decision, just learn it, like, not straightforward too. I use a lot of courage. And moving all this time forward, I think that you achieved something beautiful, and now you have. I'm so happy that you're back to Central, because now we are super neighbors.
yeah.
But what you achieved and what you see here in the cuisine is like more your style. So I think you broke that stereotype that Spanish cuisine should be done by a Spanish chef, no? Because sometimes, even though some Spanish chef don't want to do proper Spanish cuisine, like sometimes I hear like I don't want to do paellas or tortillas because I can do more than that one, which is normal. But
Yep.
you adopted that small, could be simple but complicated because you need to have the right technique, and you make it in your own style, and they're beautiful. Your tortillas
you.
here is one of the more beautiful tortillas I tried.
Yeah. Well, that's the
I
thing.
hope so
Like,
you open soon to try again.
well, that's the thing. So when we did El Cerdo in 2016, I was like, there's no point me doing it. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I don't think anyone puts more pressure when it comes to cooking. I don't think anyone can criticize me, because I think I criticize myself more than anybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I
so.
totally believe
So
you.
even when people just tell me it's not nice, I'm like, okay, I understand. I'll listen to their comments, but I'll criticize myself even more than they could ever criticize. Anyone else could ever criticize me for doing what I do, whatever cuisine I do. But when I did El Cerdo, I was like, there's no point me doing it if I'm not going to make it better than Tapeo. In terms of food, like ambience, I don't really have control over as much, but there's no point if I'm not going to improve on that. There's no point me doing it. I might as well go and do something else. So I think the food is a lot better than Tapeo, but that's me as a natural progression of it as a chef as well.
That's true.
Yeah, but also because I put pressure on myself too,
I
still do. I still do. Yeah.
I can
So-
see it, because in Tapeo my favorite dishes was the gambas pilpil, and then the tortilla, and then sometimes paella, because it depends my mood or how much carb, because I have my up and down diets.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm more careful, sometimes I'm like
Yeah.
But then when I go to you, you always already know that I love your gambas. They're beautiful. The tortilla is exquisite, no? And like I can see it, the difference between one and the other one, and then you masterize, and then now you make your recipe, no?
Yep.
And as you say, it doesn't matter if you are Spanish or not. I know how much press you put on yourself to develop this kind of cuisine.
Yeah. Well, my biggest thing, the reason I put pressure on myself, because I want to be consistent. Like the problem in Hong Kong, I always find, is that a lot of places they start off up here, they're really, really good, and they kind of go down to here, and then they stay there. And it's like, I put pressure on myself to be, once I get the dish right, to consistently be that good all the time. If the dish is not good, I'll take it off them. And I can't fix it, it's coming off the menu. But once I get it to the level where I don't claim to have the best food in Hong Kong by a long shot, or even the best Spanish food, because everyone's taste is different and what they prefer is what they prefer, right? But I put pressure on myself to get it to the highest standard I can get it, and once I get it there, it's to keep it there all the time. And so every time you come in, if you have, for argument's sake, the pan con tomate, it tastes the same every time. Hopefully, yeah. And that's the thing I want, and that's why I put pressure on my staff to do.
This is the hard part, because everything can be nice in the time you are there, but when you're not there, sometimes things change. But many times I go to Cerdo and you wasn't there because you was in an event or whatsoever, and I didn't tell you that I will go.
Yeah.
But even though I enjoy not just to visit you and Donna there, also because I'm missing this food. I'm missing the time that Goa is a cozy, beautiful place, and have chat with not just one person, with everyone, and have a nice meal. And the food was the same as when you are there. So this is amazing, and this is keep consistency, and this is really good and hard to do it here in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But when you achieve that one and you say it is the path that you, because sometimes people say, oh, I do better. Okay, you do better, but do you consistent?
My thing is this: it's like, if you come in and you eat let's say you just come in for a drink and you have a tortilla, and you're like, the first time you come here and you're like, the tortilla is not that nice. And I said to you, you should have come yesterday. Tortillas were amazing. That's no good to you, right? So it's like, no, it needs to be, for me, it needs to be consistent all the time.
And the fact that you try one dish one day.
That's what I push my staff to do as well. So yeah, it's like,
we can see it because every time your tortilla is really consistent, always a bit liquid in the side.
Yep.
No, super nice brown shaped outside. So that's the fact. I go today and then I come back after one. Let's try to do less. Now you're my neighbor. But even though after a month, it stay the same.
Yeah.
Like it's the same presentation, same consistent, which is what we need to do, because when someone likes something, they want to have the same meal next week or next month or next 2 months. It depends, no?
I'm gonna return the compliment, because I always think of the same about Tokyo Lima every time I go. I've never had a bad meal in Tokyo Lima.
Thank you.
But it's always, again, like I think we said this last time, I think Tokyo Lima is like I always tell this to all my friends, I think Tokyo Lima is better than Chicha. Chicha was amazing, but I always think Tokyo Lima is better. I think it's better progression of you as a chef as well. And I think that every time I go back, it's always consistent of like, yep, it's good. But even you're there or not there as well, I've never had a bad meal there. So
it's hard to achieve that one, no? Yeah. And it's amazing how we growing up from when we start here after 9 years in almost our 40s.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Or not, maybe.
I don't know. But it's good. This is all about like, part of me now, part of Simon now is more secret things that we want to share with all of you.
Yeah, so in the next videos, I think we're gonna actually have a rant about
stuff. No, we still have time to do a little bit of that. Let's refill our drinks and let's go with a little bit rant. We still have time? For sure, yes.
Or should we leave it there for today?
Yeah, could be.
Should we say bye to these guys?
This is bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I will finish this one and then, I need to do a new hairstyle.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything left. But
cheers.
I got a little bit in the bottom, so I'll finish that. See you next time, guys.
See you next time.
Yep.
Take care. What's your phrase always?
I need to learn this because I don't know.
I don't know.
If you like what we do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section below if there is one. Or if you listen to this on a podcast, then I don't know if you can do that or not.
I don't know.
We don't even know where we're putting this, to be honest.
See you soon.
See you soon, guys. Bye-bye. Take care.